Hey, welcome back everybody. Pulsable here yet again to break down more Valorant Pro Play action. North America's VCT Challengers 2 was this weekend, or at least the qualifier for it, so naturally there's a ton of great action to look at from last week and break down, but today I wanted to try something a little bit different. Instead of breaking down the unique intelligence strats like I normally do, which is what I prefer to do if I'm honest, I'm going to be taking a look at T1 versus FaZe and asking myself, what the hell went wrong for T1 on Bind? Now before I get into this, I want to make one thing clear. I do not think that T1 is a bad team. I was actually pretty impressed with their play on average from this weekend, and I mean, come on, they win this series and qualify, so obviously they're not terrible usually. But this map, in particular, made me want to bang my head into my desk. There's quite a bit that goes wrong for T1 on Bind that makes it painful to watch, but for me personally, the most excruciating part was how badly T1 flubbed the use of Viper. Now, I've broken down what I believe to be good Viper play before in my X10 video from a couple months ago, but if you haven't seen it, first off, go watch it, please, thanks. Let me simplify the two qualities of Viper play I think are essential to professional play. First, that there is diversity in setups, particularly the Viper wall. I don't really think throwing the same wall up round after round is the ideal method. Obviously, having defaults is important, and you can use a default wall to mess with your opponent, but you need to have some options to change the wall up, whether you're attacking or defending, if you want to optimize Viper, in my opinion. Second, that on a professional and organized team, the whole team is prepped, ready to play around, and make use out of the Viper utility so that it gets maximum value. Viper is unique in what her utility offers, and when properly used, in my opinion, has always been able to create huge advantages for her team when aided by allies. And that was before her smokes hit you with that big instant 50 decay damage, right? Now, if other players on your team are willing to commit their utility and their positions to helping out the wall or the smokes, she's damn near unstoppable. But your whole team has to be prepared to come help, and you need strategies ready for that. Alright, so now that we've laid that out, let's dive in and see how effective T1 are at meeting those two criteria. On map 1, Icebox, I dare say they were at least up to snuff. Curry was often holding walls for retakes. There was a default, but it left options open, and when the wall and smokes were committed to, all of T1 seemed ready to invest their utility in positions to get maximum value out of it. There was even a fun, unique use of the Viper's Pit to get a solid thrifty. So all in all, I give this like a B+ on Icebox. I think it was a pretty good job. But then we get to Bind. Oh boy, oh boy. All right. Well, we've got quite a bit to get through here, so let's start big picture and work our way in. Criteria 1, having diversity in setups, is a big old F from me. To start off, Curry has a particular setup towards the far right side of the map. The wall goes front side A site through showers, and Curry throws in a preset snakebite at the beginning of the round. Sometimes this is supported by a gravity well in addition, but not always. And that's actually it. That's literally the only Viper setup used the whole time. And it doesn't work. Even once. It's used 12 rounds in a row, and it only even debatably works once when Curry gets a pick. But then he dies to a lurk, and T1 lose that round anyways. If your Viper setup fails 5 rounds in a row, you need to demonstrate you have other options available. Even if you want to keep the same wall, you can rotate players over, put Spider on the Phoenix in there, for example, so you at least have something to keep the enemy on their toes. But for, I'll say it again, 12 rounds, the only person other than Curry who even dips their toes into showers to try and help or switch it up is automatic, and Cypher doesn't have any inherent way to increase the value of this setup, so he just gets demolished. T1 are so committed to having this wall here, with pretty much only Curry playing over by showers, that they would rather put the wall down and then stack the Viper ultimate over the wall than move things around on the map even slightly. And then we move on to criteria 2, optimizing the Viper utility within the strategy of the team, and I realized this one singular setup that T1 are so adherent to isn't even a good setup. T1 does almost nothing to try and make this wall placement work, and even when they do, it's still just unusable in this situation. Now, in T1's defense, on paper, I get why they want to use this wall. Ideally speaking, with the wall obscuring vision and the snakebite keeping players out of showers, this can be a hurdle for an attacking team. It's feasible for a defending player to have snuck in and be hiding, and because of the position of the wall, you would theoretically have to clear it 3 separate times before getting to sight. Even without the extra utility like the gravity well, this buys a lot of time and costs the attacking team quite a bit of utility themselves, depending on their composition. But let's actually look at the composition FaZe have. There are 3 big standouts: Astra, Sky, and Sova. Each of these 3 members has a unique and inexpensive way to nullify T1's Viper Wall setup. Astra can just immediately gravity well at the start of the round, making Curry vulnerable and delaying a push into showers, so there's not much of a chance you have to deal with a player in showers if you're FaZe, so the wall isn't much of a threat. Sova can use the Owl Drone to not only clear out anyone hiding, but tag them, revealing their position for an easy pick or forcing them off, so the wall isn't much of a threat. And Sky has 2 solid options available. Primarily, FaZe use the Trailblazer to get vision and potentially concuss a player hiding within showers so the team can enter easily. Or if it's really necessary, you can expend one of the Sky flashes, one of the guiding lights, to enter this larger section and then just wait for the wall to run out of fuel and drop so the wall isn't much of a threat. In case it wasn't obvious, there's a lot of different and inexpensive ways to completely neutralize this setup due to the composition FaZe are running. So against this composition in particular, this setup has 0 chance of working. And I'm going to cut the critiques here for the most part, because there's a lot of tiny other things that T1 do that are strange in addition, and a lot of them do revolve around this Viper wall. But if I start adding those up, this video is going to be like 30 minutes long, and I'll probably end up saying something really dumb, so I'm going to stick to what I'm sure on here. T1 are not a bad team. I want to make that clear again. Despite this egregious map, they win this series 2-1 over FaZe, the runner-up of NA Masters. But this particular map, I think, will go down in history as one of the strangest and most ill-conceived setups in the early history of Valorant Pro Play. Thanks again for tuning in, everybody. It's YouTube. You all know the drill at this point. If you like the video, there is a button for that down below. And if not, please do leave me a comment. I'm always looking to improve here. Either way, make sure you subscribe here on YouTube and also follow me over on Twitter for a bunch more good Valorant action.